So Calcavecchia, leader in the clubhouse at 5 under. That's where Chris Perry level today. Nick Price said there's nothing wrong. Tiger Woods made his 3 at 15 to remain at 4 under. And you just get the feeling if he can get the putting going, and he's capable of stringing 3 or 4 birdies in a row, and he's right back in the thick of things. 67 for Colin Montgomery. Eduardo Romero slipping back a shot. Likewise, Jose Caceres to the turn in 37. Sergio Garcia 2 over through 8. Disappointing round in the end for Matthias Gromberg. It was a 70, having been 6 under to the turn. Excellent 69 from Bernhard Langer. Darren Clark, a battling round of 70, number 1 in the Volvo Order Merit, and wanting to stay that way at the end of the week. Just looking at that round of Gromberg in a little more detail. From the third, 6 birdies in 7 holes, out in 30, but not a single birdie coming home. Indeed, in the last 6 holes, 4 drop shots, back in 40.
3 holes from home now, Tiger Woods, second to the 16th. That's the green that he shook hands with Costantino Rocca on the singles of the 97 Ryder Cup. Rocca, the winner there, 3 and 2. Beautiful approach shot there, all but going in first bounce. To the 5th.
Harrington for birdie. Always had a good short game, and he's added a bit of power to his long game. He has the ability, along with say Lee Westwood and Darren Clark, to really be in the upper echelons of the European Tour for many years.
Shot we saw earlier with the quick wipe was the Japanese player Hirimichi Tanaka.
Finishing in the same place, 14 as Vijay Singh, but keeping it a little closer to the flag. Now back to 5.
Fine run for Scott Hawke with a birdie at the 4th and the 5th, but it's not going to be 3 in a row. And you can see what we were talking about earlier in the day, that if it does get very windy and you've got greens with this amount of slope rating, the excellent condition they're in, may well have 1 or 2 problems. Let's hope not. Course is in showroom condition.
Well, Holden, lovely view of the grip there. You can see the lack of tension in the grip, just the lightest of grips, taking all the pressure off, tension out. And that's 5 greens, 4 single putts, and 1 that was a quarter of a roll from going in.
No spectators or players or anything else on that part of the course now. No doubt preparations will begin to get it ready for the 3rd round.
He's certainly playing remarkably well. Good save. 5 under for his round, and staying that way with a par at 14.
beyond the pin at the 16th means a left to right putt. But the good thing here is he's coming back into the wind, so it's one he can be reasonably aggressive with.
Be just a 4 and 17 awaits.
Amazing, he had a 6-iron into that green yesterday. Shows you the power of his driver.
Should have hit it just a bit harder. It was pretty. When you saw it the second time, you realised just how unlucky he was yesterday.
Shortish backswing from Porrick Harrington, so in between clubs perhaps, and he's got a good nudge forward there.
Rustling through the trees, and just confirmation Scott Hoke ahead made that putt back up the slope for his 3 to stay at 5 under. Andrew Coulthard dropping a shot.
Business-like swing of Price. Got that one boring through the wind a little more than he wanted. Would have looked excellent from back on the tee. And again, you see, look at the television, you think it looks relatively flat there.
Going across the slope at 45 degrees. And having made 3 birdies in a row, he's now completed the opposite hat-trick, 3 bogeys on the bounce. He'll be going bananas inside.
It's a strange game. I guess that's what makes us go out the following day, because over the first few holes there he was in a cocoon of concentration.
6 birdies on the card, but 4 bogeys. Well, 3 bogeys and a double, so overall he's just 1 under. And not many pars are about. Scott Hoke in second place, still confirmation of his 3 at 6. Nick Price, awkward little putt or possibly a chip, but it might be an easier shot to play with the chip to get a little more control on it. More spin. Great performance from Tanaka. It's not that often that we see Japanese players do themselves justice over here. For a long time it's the same in the opposite direction, but of late the likes of Darren Clark, Lee Westwood have been performing well, and David Howe last year in Japan.
And Nick Price last year as well. He said it took him 42 years to win on all 5 continents, and eventually did manage to win on the Japanese tour, and he was very proud of that, and quite rightly so.
Looking around elsewhere, you see Carlos Franco made a steady start, but he's struggling. 2 over through 8 holes. Here's the man in second.
Fine tee shot from Hoke, and it's just come far enough out to avoid the trees for his second. Not a bad line, and although the pin's on the left today, he won't be looking at going at that, as long as he can find the edge of the green and secure another birdie. It's been a very impressive run so far.
As I thought, he's got a chip that's just to try and get a little bit of spin on the shot.
Lovely close-up view. 9 iron. Just dropped the club in the back of the ball. There's the check Steve was talking about. And that's the wrong side. Does not want to have to putt from there. Big swing from the left. Would have preferred that to be a little shy and just let it come under the hole. Easy to say, not quite so easy to do.
Par at the 10th for Duffy Waldorf. And Tiger Woods tapping in for his 4 at 16. And on the first page of the leaderboard for the first time since early doors yesterday, when he, with 3 birdies in the first 4 holes. Andrew Coulthard slipping back.
And Colin Montgomery into the top 15 as well. Significant move today with that 5 under par 67 that included probably 2 of the best shots he's had all season.
So 2 under 1 under today for Gary Orr, who I think has a great chance of making the European Ryder Cup side through sheer consistency. As is particular drills, but that win in Portugal for Gary, the first one, was terrific. Do you remember? He made an eagle at the last to pit Phil Price. And the second win, to beat Colin Montgomery at Wilburn, was an even better performance, if anything.
See if Tanaka can find this green with an iron. That's a good healthy smack. Start to turn from left to right now.
Looking down this view yesterday after play, there's a new course just beyond the boundaries that they're building. Looks as if there's one under construction.
There's Almenara down here, which is designed by Dave Thomas. Dinner with Dave last evening. And fine man, of course, former Ryder Cup player. And second in the Open Championship to Bob Charles back in 1963.
I love the comment Peter Ellis made once in a commentary somewhere. The camera panned in on Dave Thomas, and he said, Dave Thomas, he said, the perpetual search for food.
He's a fine man, David. Designed San Roque too, just on the other side, opposite side you were talking about there. Now just watch the break on this. Price for a par at the 6th.
Got it. 5 single putts. This was the man that you've seen from time to time in recent years looking as if he'd never ever hole a putt of any consequence.
Nick's brother was professional down at Royal Harare, as it's now known, the former Salisbury Golf Club.
Yeah, he teed it up a couple of times on the Seniors, European Seniors Tour this year. Tim, is it Tim Price?
Tim Price, yes. Mum Wendy lives over in Norfolk in England. Fair to say, I think that Nick got his manners from his mum too. The lovely people, both of them. They're lovely to be in the company of. They never seem to change. They always have a smile on their face. Never get down about anything.
And I've not met Tim, but I saw a feature on European Tour Weekly on him, and he seemed a really regular, nice guy as well.
Hawk laying up, you can see they're already on the 7th green, so he's not having a pop at this. Taking the bunkers out of play.
Scott Hoke is a much understood man in some ways. I think he's got a very dry sense of humour.
Coulthard doing the same there at the 7th. Well, as I said earlier, I think he's one of the most underrated golfers in the world, Scott Hoke, but sometimes he's made the headlines by what he's said rather than his actions with his clubs.
So Nick Price's putter still white hot, and keeping him at the head of affairs by 3 from Hoke. And Tanaka going along nicely. We'll have a putt for birdie at 15 shortly. Harrington holding on well. It would be very easy dropping an early shot for the Irishman to slip away, but he's still on his overnight position.
You may well be forgiven for thinking that Woods is about to play his 3rd at the 17th, but I can tell you that he's had a drive of 368 yards. Now, given the position that this 17th is 536 yards long, this cannot, one would think, be more than an 8 iron.
He's due to keep one on the green. Keeps coming back for more.
No half measures this time. He's trying to turn it in from right to left. Oh, I don't believe it. It's all happened again. I do not believe it.
3 in a row. Submit. I think because he's so confident in his yardage and the way he strikes it, he's not afraid of any shot.
Well, let's have a look and see what his performances have been, and there's no question this has been the best shot of all. He took a lot of the spin off this shot last year, and at that point there you cannot believe that that ball is going to finish in the water. Neither can he, because he's handed the club. There's a smile on his face alongside his caddy. Then he looks up as the noise changes, and he looks up in horror, because there's nothing to stop that running back into the water. And in the end it cost him an 8. Very nearly cost him the championship.
In difficult conditions, he was taking the course apart until then. So come yesterday, 6 iron. They've raised the border of the green just a little, and if that had been a foot further, he'd have been putting for eagle.
Virtually in the same section of water as 12 months before, and then after an enormous drive today, it looked to be an 8 iron in his hands. 168 yards he had left to go. The trouble is, when you have a short iron and you have the wind behind you, the wind can blow the ball down and it doesn't reach the top of its flight. And once it blows it down, you lose 5 or 6 yards, and I can only assume that's exactly what happened here.
It's a very narrow target, and you've probably got just as hard a shot, although from terra firma, if you're through the green.
Problem now is his chip is downwind.
He went a long way back, as I recall, yesterday to play. No, he didn't. He went, you're absolutely right, went up to the side, just to the left of your picture. Now he hasn't got that option today. Can he go to the side? I suppose on the angle, from where it last crossed the border of the hazard, he's got to keep that point in line with the flag and where the ball is.
Well, because he got over the hazard, it's where it's run back in.
Yeah,
it's not the line it entered the hazard, if you like, at the top of the flight. But I'm rather surprised that he's doing the same thing, because he hasn't got an awful lot of green, and he's now pitching from this angle, and the water is still in play behind the pin.
Just marking, putting his mark on the new golf ball, which mostly come with the name Tiger on them.
I am astounded at this. To get this stone dead, he only has 2 or 3 feet of green to land this on. To play that shot after what's happened here, he didn't even pitch that ball on the green. He stunned it into the bank. You're relying on the first bounce, but he had the belief that it would shoot forward. That is incredible confidence.
Take a look at it again. Look towards the top of the bank. And she goes, taking the pace. It was quite a big bounce as well, though. Could easily have sat down and just been sort of 10-15 feet short, but may well get out with a 5.
May have pictures of the St Andrews golf course or Medina, where he's won his major championships. I have a feeling the 17th at Valderrama may not feature in his house. Good par from Tanaka, couple of putts there.
What it might do, will it be in the smallest room? So Nick Price unaware of the drama affecting Tiger Woods. He's a long way from 17. He leads by 3. And Tanaka still going along pretty well. 2 putts at 15 for his par, 5 under for the day. Duffy Waldorf just a par 5 at the 11th. And Chris Perry, Franklin Langham treading water. Level par over the first 7 holes. So 2 par 5s have gone by. Coulthard slipping back a couple of bogeys in a row. Bob May just behind Tiger Woods. Birdie at 17 would set him up for a sub 70 round. And Colin Montgomery, that round of 67 that included a hold, a second shot at 2 for eagle, and a 7th tour hole in 1 at the 12th, his second in a week in a round of 67. And this is no simple putt, it's very swift. Swing from left to right. Of course, if he misses it, he's probably got a longer one coming back. I suppose you have to say good 5.
That's another hole that will go in the black book. Another goal.
Scott Hoke then having laid up, then Cedric Coulthard, beg your pardon, having laid up, playing with Scott Hoke at 7.
Great. Oh, not there, Paul.
Scott Hoke, by the way, also making a par 5 at this 7th hole to remain at 7 under.
No, that isn't possible. On the downslope, he would have much preferred to have been in the sand.
And really got very little green to work with.
No, I didn't.
I'm not entirely sure he'll be able to keep that ball on the green from there, because he'll have to hit it hard enough to guarantee the strike. It's downwind and downhill all the way. Much easier one for Mike Weir at the 9th. One of 2 players to win on the Buy.com tour that play left-handed. He began his golf right-handed, Mike Weir. Then switched over to left, and it's been a good season for him.
On the practice ground at Eastlake last week, Vijay Singh and Steve Flesh swapped clubs and were both hitting soft draws.
Another great year it's been for Hal Sutton, and I don't think too many people will forget the Tournament Players Championship over at Sawgrass when we had to come back on the Monday morning. And both he and Tiger Woods did battle, Woods eagling the 16th before Sutton went ahead and birdied that notorious 17th, the green there in the middle of the lake, designed by Pete Dye.
And the chance this week, I suppose, for some 15 of the leading money winners on the US PGA Tour to get through the $2 million mark. And the story is, I think, renegotiated TV contracts next year, the money's going to get even bigger.
Yes, they're not actually due to change until the end of 2002. The negotiations will begin, as you say, in May. And one or two interesting comments from Woods and the Tour Commissioner Tim Fincham there. I'm not sure all is well in that department.
Stand still over there, please.
But I'm told Tiger will be more than welcome in the Madeira Island Open if he wants a change.
Oh, he's played it brilliant. Oh, that is a magnificent shot from Price, and another one added to your single putt tally.
Well, 7 greens, 8 putts. It's the all-round game. I mean, he was hitting the ball in the right position and the ability to get out of trouble when you're just out of position.
Not quite sure what Harrington can do here. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he plays something like a 5-iron and tries to run it through the bunker. I don't think he has a shot with a lofted club. And option out because of the steepness of the bank. It's a lofted club, and his only chance here really is to land the ball on the fringe. If he lands this on the green, he's not going to keep it by the hole. But the shots have been made easier over the years with the introduction of 60-degree wedges.
It's about a 40-to-1 shot.
It's not as bad as I thought first time round. I thought the downslope was steeper than that. And he's done exactly that. He's got it in the first cut, and that's excellent. Just look at the swing on this second shot at the 8th of Hulk. Just watch the right hand come over the top of the shaft on the way through. Probably quite happy that it's in sand. Difficult shot for him, given the fact that he plays every shot from left to right. You'll see caddying for Scott Hook out of retirement this week, Dave Musgrove, and it's not going to be a regular thing. He's just come down for a bit of sunshine on the Costa del Sol. Caddied for Hoke in the past, and of course he's been with Lee Jensen, and a caddy who's won 3 majors out of 4.
So he's now from Mansfield. He's got a thriving second-hand bookshop there, I think. Don't know if there's a specialist golf section.
Nearly got the Grand Slam. No, he hasn't managed to win the US PGA. This man has. 98 at Sahali. He's playing partner with 2 of these. 99 at Medina, and this year over at Valhalla in Louisville, Kentucky. An event these players have owned for 3 years.
Tiger tangling with the cork trees down the left-hand side. And, you don't often see him in big trouble, but he has great imagination and a huge variety of shots.
Over at Las Vegas, Rio Seco is the headquarters of Butch Harmon. Wonderful facility they have there, state-of-the-art equipment as far as teaching is concerned. Wood spends a lot of time there fiddling around, playing different shots. He's always asking Butch, what about this one, what about that one? He doesn't just work on his golf swing to hit the ball down the fairway, and he realizes that he's not going to play well every time he goes out there, and he will have to play shots like this. It's thoroughly enjoyable to watch. See if this one comes off.
Well, he's got himself into position to get up and down. That was the impressive thing, I think, about the performance at Pebble Beach, when Butch Harmon revealed that the specific preparation that Tiger made for every shot he was likely to encounter wasn't a question of just going out and practicing.
4 of all 4s for Harrington, up and down from the most awkward of positions at the left.
And back into a share of second place, 1 under today.
Ball of Scott Hoke at the 8th. Much more at home playing that shot. Natural out to end swing path. But struggling for a par, as many have done on the 8th today.
From the back of the 17th, Bob May for eagle. Get to 4 under. Provided us with one of the best days golf of the year in that final shootout in the USPGA with Tiger Woods, which he took to extra holes. Price by 4 from Hoke, and now Harrington. Par at 12 for Duffy Waldorf. And you can see Tiger Woods has got up and down it for a round of 69. Nothing leaps out. Nothing else leaps out from the first page at the leaderboard. Maybe we're going to have a look at the second. Thank you. Right, we're to the turn in 37. Retief Goosen fighting back. And an up and down day for Vijay Singh. Colin Montgomery sharing 15th place, and he was out in the second match of the day, so it's been an excellent round 2 of the American Express Championship for Colin Montgomery.
Another very inventive shot from Woods. Looks like he may escape with a birdie, a par rather, at the last. Escape with a par at 17. It's been a tough ending to this round for him.
Yeah, he's making bogeys, and if he makes that putt, he hasn't made one on this round. Now to 16, Tanaka.
Lovely 4 from Hope. He zigzagged his way up there. There have been 20 bogeys so far on this shortest par 4 on the golf course. Very tight tee shot, out of bounds on the right, trees on the left. If Singh holds this, it will be his 7th par of the round, and it will be his first one since the 10th.
Four birdies, 3 bogeys. There's this birdie coming at 17, whilst all the drama was surrounding Tiger Woods. Vijay quietly making 4. a round of 70. Which at times looked as if it was going to be a lot better.
Having already hit 68 shots, he wants to try and get himself into the clubhouse on 140.
Well done. 3 birdies, no bogeys. And whilst he's still quite a long way back from Nick Price at the moment, he's not so far away from those who are second, third and fourth. And of course always the feeling that somewhere, somehow, sometime this week there's going to be a birdie burst. Played the par 5 in just 1 under, that's surprising.
Not so good for the par 5s today for Tiger. This is Price at the 8th, second shot.
Get down. Get down.
Stop.
Now technically it's every chance for another single putt, because you only count the ones that are just on the putting surface. Actually, during a McGregor week, they had, for the launch of the stats, they had various categories for the journos and broadcasters going around. And I won the putting category simply by not aiming for the greens.
Plenty of greens hit today by Mark Calcavecchi. A lovely round of golf for 67. It was matched by Montgomery there. One or two players out in the course having their problems. Coulthard, one of them, and +2, having shot 67 yesterday. Steve Flesh continues his good form. Gary Orr, who's top of the greens in regulation here, and a man whose stroke average has improved year by year. So it's been a nice steady performance, nice steady progression for Orr.
A lot to look for back on in the year. Became a father for the first time.
It's from Helensburgh, which is just a few miles away from Loch Lomond. Helensburgh it's called up there. Helensburgh, I suppose it would be internationally. A nice little golf course they have there by the shores of the Atlantic Ocean that come in and lap the west side of Glasgow.
I mean, you look at Gary and first impressions, you know, so there's the man who put the dower in Scott, because he looks very serious, but he's got a wonderful sense of humour when he's away from the course, and he actually, his mood swings, he keeps very consistent on the course as well, keeps very calm.
Harrington in the Hoke bunker at the 8th.
The second day running.
Very nearly good. Played a gorgeous shot yesterday from there when the pin was over in the back left corner. Managed to get it within a yard, but struggling there for his 4. And whereas the course was probably 1 down after the first 18 holes, it's probably now all square, in position to maybe go 1 up.
Yeah, go on, stop. It's got a hook there saying that looks good, which it was. And I think he's misunderstood at times. He's obviously encouraging Andrew. Technically, 8 greens, 9 putts.
You're keeping tabs on that, and quite rightly so. This Price is up there, clear leader, having extended his lead by an extra shot from the one he held overnight. No chance of Tanaka going for the 17th. Pull his drive over to the left. He's avoided the bunkers. It's all a question of where you want to play your 3rd now. Do you want to play it from 50 yards from the pin, or 100 yards, 120, whichever is your comfortable distance?
Looking across, it may not have been Tanaka to play first. He's playing with Steve Flesh.
looks of it, flashes on the fairways, maybe just deciding to wave over there and say I'll lay up because I have no chance of reaching. From the Ryan, the Zoysha on the right of the ninth, Hook second.
Sit down.
No, he made camera angle may be deceptive. He may be far enough back to get a shot through and under the other cork tree. Somehow conjure up a par, but that was a wayward one. Little too close for comfort. Yeah, I can't believe he meant to do that.
If he did, he's a fantastic player, I'll tell you, because there's only 3 feet or so left before you take the dreaded fall into the agua. He's been rather fortunate here, Hook. It didn't look so good from the other camera angle.
Ken Brown is here working for the BBC, and he was telling me one Volvo Masters on this hole where he, Des Smith, and I think it was Roger Davis, the other one, the 3 balls were all touching each other at the back of the green. He's never ever seen that before in golf. And, do you remember that? Because I started with a company called Viewpresser doing the closed circuit around here, and they used to cover just the one hole, and that was the hole. I keep saying, let's go to the 9th. Here we go back to the 9th. And here at the 9th.
Tell us about the 9th, Steve.
Hang on.
Straight away par 4, which after 4 days you can get a little tired of. And also away to the left-hand side of the right-hand side of the hole is the little par 3 course, which most holes are about between 80 and 100 yards long. Fantastic greens, but you play the first one, walk around the corner, and you come to the hardest par 3 in the world. You played it?
I have been on many occasions, but tell us about the 9th, Steve.
Well, this is Porter Carrington on the 9th. It's 441 yards, trees down the left, out of bounds, and the par 3 course on the right. And it used to be the 18th. And then later on we switched to the 10th.
Sure, that must have come as a remarkable relief. Both players haven't found the fairway in one of the holes that's counting for measurements for driving distance and driving accuracy. But not too much of a problem there. We'll be able to fire that on the left side of the green and let the wind do the rest. Up ahead at the green, it's Hook for a par 4.
Pity. So he slips out of a share of second place to 6 under, but still covering the first 9 in 35. It's his first bogey of the day.
Hardest hole on the golf course, so I guess it's to be expected. As soon as you get out of position off the tee there, you have to work very hard to find the green with your second. Gold tart chip from the back edge to here, par putt for him. And it's 38 for the Scot.
Let's go to 10.
May just have a cup of tea in a moment because you seem to know these two holes very well. Chris Perry will be enjoying the 10th. That's a fine second.
Actually, the 10th was marginally more interesting because occasionally you would get these horrible stories for the players, of course, the ball spinning all the way off the green and 40 or 50 yards down.
Push tee shot from Franco at the par 3 12 down the downslope. Lovely long lazy swing, quiet hands.
Garcia around in 40, 4 over, but he's just made a birdie 2 at 12. A little unlucky not to finish a lot closer to 13.
Awful day for his playing partner, Ritty Huss. He was in fairly good shape, 1 under for the round through 7. Drop shots at 8, 9, 11 and 12. Now just at 1 under par. Garcia at even as we go back and join Steve Beddow, who's at the 9th.
Lucky you, and I'm at the 9th. This is our leader. But by now I'll be feeling pretty good because I've nearly finished for the day.
Driving the ball down, keeping it low for the first 40 or 50 yards. And as often can happen when you're trying to shape the ball, you overdo it, it's into the wind, so any mistake's going to be magnified. And it's not that difficult a shot from there, you can still make 4.
Just a nice 5-iron.
Yeah.
Not down the shaft or anything.
No.
What's the flag off?
6 off the right.
Sure you heard it all there, a 5-iron. Just a nice one of them. And that's exactly what he's produced. Green that's framed by the Cortijo apartments, but then you would know that.
No, I've stayed in one of them once. Anyway, we're about 3 hours into our 5-hour coverage of round 2 of the WGC American Express Championship. If you have just joined us recently, let's bring you up to date with the story of the day so far. An earlier start for Tiger Woods after a 71 yesterday. This is his second to the second. He'd opened up with a par. Wasn't that much wrong with Tiger's ball striking yesterday, but didn't make his usual quota of putts. When that one stayed out, he must have feared a second helping. So through the tunnel onto the 3rd tee. Even that one shying away from the hole. But the birdie was not about to get away. Tiger opened his account. Another chance after 4 consecutive pars coming at 8. He rather missed out on 2 par 5s. He thought he'd got that one, and so did we. And it was turning into a frustrating day. Meanwhile, Colin Montgomery, who'd hold his second at the second, hold his tee shot at the par 3 12, was making a par at 18 for a 67. And the man who's won the last 7 Order of Merits in Europe, not out of the race for 8 in a row. Going well out on the course, Duffy Wardorf. Beautiful tee shot at the very tricky 6. And at the start of a run of 3 birdies in a row for Wardorf. But the leader chipped and putted reassuringly at the first. His putting touch just superb yesterday, and it looked like it was going to be just as good today. A birdie at the second. A little further ahead. Very distinct putting style for Tanaka. The Japanese player also going well. Rory Carrington finding the sand off the tee at 3 and unable to save par. But then at the par 5 fourth, getting the shot back. It's been a good week so far for Mark Kalkovecka, despite a very convoluted putting style, just finding some way to get it into the hole. He didn't manage it at 18, but even so it was an excellent round of 67 for the former Open champion. Birdies at 11 and 12 for Tiger Woods. Second into 16, still hadn't dropped a shot. And he just crept onto the first page of the leaderboard. 14th hole for Tanaka. Good save, chip and putt from the back of the green. Staying at 6 under. Now Tiger at the 17th. A huge drive, 368 yards and only an 8 iron. Downwind, maybe the wind knocking it down, but the water. The eventual resting place for yet another Tiger Woods golf ball. 3 in a row. This was 12 months ago. It's one of those sequences, every time you see it, you think this time it must stay on the green. "22 hours ago. Slightly modified green built up, and if that had been a foot further, it would have been dry. Nick Price, third shot at the par 5 7th. Setting up for yet another single putt. 7 greens, 6 single putts. For a character with an almost impossible third shot and a very, very good 4. Moving into a share of second place, Scott Hoke pushed his, hooked his second at the second off the hook tee shot into the bunker, and a very good sand save. All of which means that with Hoke dropping a shot at the 9th, his first bogey of the day, Nick Price leads by 5 from Hoke, Tanaka, who's got 2 holes to play, and Harrington. Chris Perry picking up a shot, moving to 5 under. Kalkovecka a round of 67, and a very tidy round of 69 for Bob May. 69 also a par at the last for Tiger Woods. He had to work hard for that 4, mind you. And there's Colin Montgomery with his round of 67, a later starting time tomorrow, but he has to win to make it 8 in a row.
Third shot of Price at the 9th, back into the breeze, pulling that up nicely, but downhill putt and downwind putt there for Price for his par. But all in all, it's been a serene passage so far in the first 9 holes for the overnight leader.
But if he makes that putt, Ewen, it's just 10 putts for the here, which is just fantastic.
Well, a few moments ago we left Tanaka by the shoreline of the 17th. Third shot. just, and another brave shot, it must be said. Shot that's full of courage.
He's done it again, out in 34. And just 10 of those with the blade on the putting surface. So Nick Price halfway through his second round, leading by 5. But this man has an opportunity to go second on his own.
He may have been fortunate with the second shot, but it was a lovely third and fourth. And Tanaka-san heading towards the top.
Yeah, he's 29 years of age, lives in Tokyo. He's won 8 times on the Japanese golf tour, and he was a third on the Order of Merit, so the last qualifier for this event, and he's making the most of it.
Scott Hoke approaching his 45th birthday, not far away. Harrington at 6 under par, so Price not totally having it his own way. He'll know about the dangers of the back nine. He's played here often enough. Duffy Waldorf moving up nicely. Coulthard needing to do something better after his upward half of 38. And Vijay Singh, what an amazing round of golf today. Only 7 pars in the 18 holes, but nevertheless up there at 3 under.
2 wins for Tanaka this year, the Heido Drinko Shizuoka Open and the Crowns. And in between he had a second place, that was the start of the year. And he was third in the Japan Open.
What was the first one there, Steve?
We just cut to the 10th verse for the leader. Into the Heido Drinko Shizuoka Open.
It's easy for you to say. Good drive from Price, perfect position down the right centre of the 10th. Hole that goes away from the clubhouse, goes into the northerly direction. And there you have a collection of tees there. The back tee, the members tee, society tee, and then the ladies tee. And really you drive to the elbow of the dog leg. Andrew Coulthard found the water over here on the right yesterday. It cost him a shot. He managed to get out of it with a 5. And really you aim on these bunkers that have just gone out of vision. And then there's 5 more for you to have a look at the green.
And you see how the water came on the camera screen. That's from the fountain in the middle of the lake. Very tempting to do that. And, the line looks to be okay. Just across the other side of the kart track is the 18th. One over today.
The 2 short holes on the back 9 today, the 12th and the 15th, are back into the Levante wind, so they're playing their full distance. We've seen a lot of players short of 15. We've seen Weir come up short there at the 12th. Do believe the course plays easier the other way around if the wind comes off the land. That's the Poniente for the southwest wind.
Garcia up the hill at 14.
Been some wonderful shots played here over the years. Olaf Thabel hold his second from the middle of the fairway. Jim Furyk against Nick Faldo. All the bunker shot, that little bunker you see in the middle of your screen. And at the front he popped that and then hold another one at the next, the 15th.
That's right. Was it 3 and 2 in the end for Furyk after... Jim Furyk would have probably been here, having beaten Nick Faldo in 97, but he got a wrist injury which ruled him out last week. Any else, by the way, hopefully on his way or back by now to London, getting treatment for his back, which was giving him trouble before the off, but he so wanted to play this event. He thought he'd give it a go, but after 9 holes it was just impossible to continue.
It all happened when the plane arrived here and he decided to take some luggage out, and he didn't realise it was so heavy and he felt something go in his back. Something that Gary Player and Bob Charles have never done in their life. They've never picked up the golf clubs or the luggage. They've always had someone to do that. They believe that not so much the problems of maybe tweaking something in your back, but they felt that it took away a bit of feeling in the fingers. And you can't argue much about their record over the years. Second of Harrington, first hole in the back nine.
He's got a reasonable angle, and that's the safe shot. Very tricky putt. About picking up luggage now. I mean, Sam Torrance is known to be injury prone. He had a spell of a one-man all-out war with trolleys in airports, didn't he? Picked up any number of injuries.
I remember him playing in the Wills tournament in 1981. Ahoy. He's prone to the odd nightmare, Sam. In fact, it couldn't have been 81. It must have been a World Cup year, probably 82. I think it was when Waits lost to Barnes in a playoff. Sam had been watching the football and got up and kicked a flower pot.
1-0 to the flower pot. Now, if he single puts that, he really is on form. You can hear a lot of players say, come on, wind, and it's a definite factor in just putting a bit of doubt into the equation. And of course, it's not something that, it's not an exact science judging the wind.
All but found the green at the 15th, walled off. Fairway, big slope from left to right. Playing a lot longer today. Coulthard's 265 from the front of the green. So unlikely he'll make that green fringe.
Well, hopefully he won't, because people are still on the green, so being a little facetious, just laying up. And he got just about to the front of the green in 2 yesterday. Just shows the difference in wind speed.
Putt of Chris Perry up ahead on the green. Steady play from Perry today, no drop shots so far. Couple has gone for his playing partner, Franklin Langham, the 5th and the 8th.
And a birdie at 9, the hardest hole on the course for Perry. One success. And I say this is a real test for the putting stroke of Nick Price. It's one that you've got to work hard to get close. He's going across a ridge up for the first probably 2/3 and then downhill for the last third. Well, it's 2 putts, but it's a very good first putt.
Garcia, top of the hill, 15th tee. Did well to make his par at the last. Remember, missed the green over on the right, just clipped one of the trees. Up and down in 2. And safely into the heart of this extremely difficult par 3 today. Playing partner continues to have a bit of a nightmare out there. 5 bogeys and 6 holes from Retief Goosen, and he's now back to level par, a long way off the lead held by Nick Price. Tanaka on the 18th at the moment, 6 under par. He needs a 4 for a round of 66. Harrington and Hoke at level par, maintaining their positions that they were in overnight. It's Hoke we go to, third shot to the 11th. So difficult when you can't see the bottom of the pin. Hoke would only see the top third of it there. And he'll be a little disappointed when he comes up and sees it short of the green. The gallant Dave Musgrove, one of the most respected caddies in the game of golf. And having had a look at the price putt at the 10th moments ago, this was Harrington's effort for a 3. Not much work for Price left, but a bit more than he would have wanted for Harrington. Tee shot of Duffy Waldorf at the 16th, just fallen off the edge of the fairway, but that's not much of a problem as long as it's the left-hand side. 422 yards, but downwind today, and nothing much more than a drive and a 9-iron for these players.
Four wins in the States for Duffy. 38-year-old now, from born in Los Angeles. Been a pro 15 years.
One of these annoying drop shots when you're out of position off the tee, and you seem to have made up for that with what was quite an intelligent second shot. Back alongside Hoke at 5 under par. An opportunity for Price to stay at 11 under. Hoke we go to at the top of the hill. And outside birdie chance here at the par 5 11th.
Darkish clouds out to Sydney. The forecast is particularly encouraging for the weekend.
May be influenced by the approach of Hoke at the 11th as we get to the 18th. What a round this is turning out to be.
7 under, perfect position, middle of the 18th fairway. Had to cross the green for birdie. Japanese TV are here, and they'd be absolutely delighted. It's a long way to come and not see any of your players feature. The ratings will be good. Putt downwind from Coulthard. Good looking one too. Oh,
Did everything but go in.
So nearly 2 birdies in a row. He's only one behind his fellow competitor. Now he's had 2 bogeys in a row.
View from behind the 13th, looking back up onto the fairway there. Mike Weir's tee shot just about okay. Having made the 2 at the last, we're now at 4 under. Nick Henning, the Tournament Players Champion of South Africa, 4 at the 12th. Drop shot there, he's back to 1. I know you like a glass of wine. This man knows everything about wine. He's the US PGA Tour's wine connoisseur.
I think you're wrong saying I like a glass of wine. No one like a bottle of wine, to be honest.
I remember a chum of mine took his young daughter out for dinner, and the waiter came up and put some wine in so he could taste it. She turned round to the waiter and said, "My daddy likes it filled right up to the top."
Almost got an idea of the markings on the ball, which are extensive.
There are messages sent home to his children and his wife. They seem to know what the messages are if the camera gets close enough to it. I'm trying the level best there. Not much white left, is there?
Tanaka started the day at 1 under, so he's got this to get to 8, so this is for around a 65. Just trying to work out what time it will be in Tokyo. Must be about 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock at night.
It's right about that. And I'm sure the wait up has been worthwhile to see this man play so well. The whole game has been in excellent shape. And he's got the distance right with that one. Hopefully he'll knock that in. And a round of 66 today is absolutely first class.
Got the pace of that one right. Slightly uphill. Now slightly downhill.
Waldorf's returned bad at the 16th. Lovely swing plane from Nick Price, which enables him to propel the ball low off the club face there and keep it down. It's a perfect day for him. He won't be terribly chuffed about that one over to the right, but he's been quite fortunate. He's missed the bunker, he's not in the trees. And on a day like this, you need a bit of fortune.
That's a 66 for Tanaka. Very well played. Leader in the clubhouse. So the flag of Japan flying high.
Harrington going the other side of Price. Got the length to carry the bunkers. And the middle of the fairway. Not that far away from the green. 30 yards or so the apron cut there with the handmores. Then the triplets get on to the Bermuda grass. Tiffway 419 is what that's planted with. Same as the tees. Lovely tee shot from Waldorf. Should he choose to, he can certainly reach from there. Whether that's the wise shot remains to be seen.
Now you're probably aware that there's a race going on to win the Volvo Order of Merit. This is the final counting event. Darren Clark with the lead. That's in euro, which is almost equivalent of dollars, but you can see the lead around about £60,000 in sterling for Darren Clark over Lee Westwood. Thomas Bjorn, a 70 yesterday. He's out on the course at the moment. He's 1 under. Darren Clark around a 70 today. He's already completed. Lee Westwood, I think it was a 72. Ernie Owls out because of that back trouble. A 71, I think it was, for Mike Campbell. But so there's not really any great movement. But the player who's made the big move is around a 67 from Colin Montgomery. And that story will run and run. And if it becomes probable that there may be changes, we'll obviously keep you abreast. But it's one of the subplots in this $5 million American Express Championship.
3 consecutive fives for Scott Hope. Tee shot at the 12th. Oh dear. Amazing, he seemed to be in total control when he made that par at the 8th, having not seen the fairway. And a few moments ago that was his tee shot at the first par 3 in the back 9. More tree trouble over there on the right.
I don't think it's good news for Andrew Coltan either. Not on the putting surface. If he's chipping or playing out of sand, looks like he might be chipping. But he'll be playing second.
Decisions to be made. There's an excellent view of it there. So it has to be looking at 3 or 4 feet left of the pin. Is a problem at this time of the year because these are cork oaks and a lot of little acorns come down. So a lot, thousands of them. It's a very well played shot from the American. Coulthard having that ball marked, so that's going to take a second or two. Third of Price up the hill at the 11th.
Didn't need a lot more. Just released a bit more. Might have caught the slope and gone down and been fairly close.
It's never easy when you're in the rough and you're going into the wind, because in the back of your mind there's the flyer, then your next shot will be back downwind. He was probably a little aware of that.
Rudolph second at 17 and medium to medium iron. Can get there?
Oh, he can get there. He's driven it past the bunker on the left side. It's one thing getting there, and once you've got there, it's one thing staying on it. Caddy likes it, so he should. Terrific shot.
such big crowds around the 17th. It's a little cooler. It was quite a nice afternoon to sit and take in the sun, watch the golf.
Sense of disappointment in Steve Beddow's face there, because he hasn't been able to keep up that one putts that he's been keeping us up to date with all the way through the front nine. And often you find this, you have a run of one putts and then for some reason you're forever 20 feet away and you're two putting.
Garcia at 16. 2 over today. Represents a considerable improvement. He made a 2 at the 12th, and at the next short hole, the 15th, also a 2. So looks like he's going to make his 3rd birdie. The back 9, 2 in a row.
Hope for a par at the 12th. Oh. It's funny when 1 or 2 shots slip away. It's so hard to stop the rot. Probably saw the marker of Podrick Harrington on the 11th green. Good 3rd shot from just short of the apron.
He's always been mentally strong. He could have done with that one just to give him a boost.
Chance gone there in many ways. Chip into the wind from no more than 45 yards. See what Chris Perry's up to. I was talking about the slow players earlier on in the day, and I think Chris Perry would have made Ken Brown look quite quick.
Chilly day. You think the woolly hat would have been on for Ken Brown?
Could have been the old tea cozy that he made very much his own.
But he played in 1 or 2 of the early Volvo Masters round here without much success. It was coming towards the end of his playing days.
Well, I was very fortunate to do a video with him before the Ryder Cup, and even then he wasn't playing the tour regularly, but his golf was quite exceptional. It was lovely to watch. Slow drilling 1-irons off bare lies that really became the hallmark of his game. Final group, 7 holes from home in the 2nd round here. And there's a very good view over the player's shoulder. That's just about what he sees when he walks on the tee.
Not off the back tee again.
That's a good thing in many ways. You get the wind coming from the east off the back tee, you could be drilling in a 3-wood here.
Might be back in the single putt mode again.
Terrific second from Waldorf at the 17th. Eagle putt. You'll see the new part of the green here. You see the different coloured shade of green just to the right of the cup as we look. That's just about his line.
Perfect pace. Maybe that change of colour just fools them a little because it stopped turning as it got onto the new path. Still will be a very good fall though. these two played together yesterday when it was a random draw order, leader order today. They were paired for a second day, and they'd love to do that 2 more times and take the chance on Sunday. And Harrington, at the moment, not in second place, a couple behind Takanaka.
6-iron for Colin Montgomery last week at Monte Castillo. 4-iron it was here at the 12th. Often you got a couple of holes in one in back-to-back tournaments, but Colin achieved that. Helped them to a round of 67.
Garcia for his birdie at 16. And again, he's fighting back. So a couple over after 3 yesterday, and not a similar story today.
Yes, he needs to learn to play the front 9, I think. Waldorf at 17 for his birdie 4. And she goes. Welcome one, that's first one since the 8th. Evens up the score on the back 9 and takes him to 5 under par. Price showing no signs whatsoever of collapsing. Very strong performance, Steve.
It is. I mean, confidence built over recent weeks, brought it across the Atlantic after a share of 3rd place in the Tour Championship at Eastlake. And he leads by 4 from Ichimichi Tanaka, a round of 66 for the Japanese star.
We saw Scott Hook drop a shot here a little earlier on. Andrew Coulthard, as Steve was saying, not in the bunker. He did get down in 2. So Coulthard still at 4 under par and still in good position to make plenty of cash at the end of the week. Plenty of prize money to play for too.
Yeah, kitty of $5 million. Top prize is the cool million. But all the way down, and last place picks up about $30,000. At 25,500. There's $500,000 for second place, $500,000. So even 7th place takes away $145,000, the best part of £100,000. A friend of ours, mutual colleague Richard Boxall, calls these the wheelbarrow tournaments. So you turn up with your wheelbarrow and they fill them with cash and off you go.
Price leading the way in that chase for the 1 million. Birdie putt here at the 12th.
Price still by 4, just missing out on the 2 at 12. Chance for Harrington though to get back to level par for the day. Excellent round 69 from Bob May. Of course, also at 4 under, Tiger Woods 69 today, and that is round number 45 without straying over par. Montgomery's days improved just a fraction more. He's up into share of 14th now.
Funny, they were all going in yesterday. Suddenly they've dried up.
Test of temperament and resolve. I think it would be fair to say that Porrick Hankton's got one of the serenest, best balanced temperaments on the European Tour.
Oh, without question, that's the strongest part of his game, I would say. But you see how meticulous he's become, even marking the ball there and turning the manufacturer's name to face the hole, and that putt was no more than 2 inches. Takes an extra few seconds, and it's a pity these 2 tee shots didn't yield 2s, because they deserved it.
So just a short drop down the side of the slope to the 13th tee, priced by 4, walled off on the last hole, having made a birdie at 17, no birdie at 12 for Harrington, 67 for Mark Calcavecchia. And that's the situation at the top of the leaderboard, completely up to date now. Just as fast as the pigeon could get there.
21 players are under par at this stage of the second round. Michael Campbell, one of them, as Steve was saying, 1 under par, 143. Still not out of the race yet, but more problems ahead for Scott Hoch. Third shot here at the 13th. In the middle of a miserable run.
3 hours 40 minutes into round 2 coverage, just been into the pits for a change of microphone.
That's McLaren speed too, 7.8 seconds.
Over the years, it's been debated about is 18 a good finishing hole or not. I suppose we'll get involved in that a little later. But it's certainly a tough hole if you need a 4 to win.
Second consecutive day Price deciding on this new driver that he's acquired in the last 10 days. Means that he's 10 to 15 yards longer with it, and he certainly hasn't lost any of his accuracy.
So he's only 10 to 15 yards behind the rest of them, claiming 30 yards.
He's not as short as he would make one believe. Very tight, all this 13th. No bunkers whatsoever, but plenty of trees, as you can see there. The fairway slopes from left to right, so the ideal line off the tee is that solitary tree in the top left of your screen. The slope then will edge your ball into the middle of the fairway, so you're going to look at the green down the bottom of the hill. A new green too, one that's been raised over the last few years. And as all the other greens on this golf course, beautifully prepared, and the areas around it. Driver for Price, it's a 3-wood for Harrington.
It's a publication available which lists the history of Valderrama, and you've got details of all the changes over the years, and when you look at that, it's amazing how many changes there have been.
At last, some good news for Scott Hoch. It's only a par though at the 13th.
I think those changes have come about over the years where the club president, Signor Bettino, with a consultation process, quietly and away from the glare of publicity, with the leading players that have played this course. And what do you think? Where could we improve? What do we need to do? And over the years, it's been an ongoing process.
Well, things have moved on dramatically since this course was built in 1975. I think it had too many slopes in its early days, and as greenkeeping moves on and you have the ability to get the speed up on the greens, then these slopes become a problem, especially given the topography of this land. So I think they've been forced upon Jaime Ortiz Patino, but he treats this with loving care. As I said earlier, he's not just a man who owns a golf club. He got the old Tom Morris Award last year, which I know was a very emotional moment from him. That's for his services to greenkeeping and his ability, his knowledge of greens, and he's very highly thought of over in the United States, where he does spend quite a bit of time throughout the season.
Chris Perry having just dropped a shot at 13. Langham just the one birdie at 4, drop shots at 5 and 8, pars all the way from the turn. Garcia second into the water at 17 and trying to play the shot that Tiger Woods played. The 9 players in all have made it into the water. So his little fight back coming to a watery end.
No drop shots for so long, and then a pair go together at 13 and 14.
Okay.
Second for Harrington at 13. Question of, well, he's far enough back to maybe go over those trees, but the favourite shot would be the draw. Not easy to execute off a slightly hanging lie.
It's another hole that's made more difficult today by the change of wind direction. But it's a cracking drive from Nick Price, and you really couldn't place your tee shot in a better position than this.
He took quite a few weeks off in the summer to be with his kids. Maybe that he's got an edge coming into this tournament because he's fresher than one or two that have been involved in the various competitions, President's Cup and so, as well as regular tournament play.
I must say there was some strange pairings in the President Cup when you think that Greg Norman and Nick Price went out and put on a thrilling show and then never played again. Together, that is.
Wow.
He's lost the flow, there's no doubt. He was very impressive over the first few holes, Scott Hook.
And there's a pattern there, mostly shots are being lost to the right.
It is his weak one. He has a swing, really. His golf swing is above his natural plane. It's quite upright. And it's not the best combination on a windy day. This is Waldorf at the last, second shot.
Oh, rats. Boy,
It's like one of those rescue clubs. Combination between a wood and a long iron.
Need a full set of these.
Go. How does it stop there? Okay.
Maybe some of the problems with the wind caused by the fact the holes don't run up parallel to each other for the most part. They twist and turn a little bit. You can be fooled.
Yes, the previous hole, the 14th, is to the right as we look, the 16th up the hill to the left. Will the wind keep that on the green, or will it blow it up the bank? And thankfully it's the former. We were looking at the scores in the first round, Steve, 32 under par. It was, and it'd be a lot more than that today.
Got to be nudging, I don't know, 40 to 50 over. It's a harder day. That's down to the wind. '66, the low round of the day from Takanaka, 67s from Colin Montgomery and Mark Calcavecchia. Well, we are back on the single putt. I'm sure Nick would like to get a couple of single putts through, hitting the second shot close.
Good first putt from Harrington to threaten the hole, but he's run some 4 feet by.
Whatever the cumulative score over par is, it's just gone up by 1. Bogey for Garcia.
Can you hold still there, please? Thank you.
Two very sound putts from the front of the green. Another dangerous hole out of the way. I wouldn't think you're that far off with your estimate there. Somewhere between 45 and 50. Fairly wild first putt from Waldorf at the 18th. He wasn't that far away, he was pin high with his second.
The 69, moving in the right direction. 70 yesterday, 1 fewer today. Shaking hands with Jose Caceres. We thought Caceres would go well. Just waited for his score to be entered at 18, but he was 2 under stood on the tee, having made a 4 at 17. So level par today, having started at 2 under. It's been a very good performance from Nick Price. Once again, he was saying you can never tell when the 63 is going to come out of the bag, and he said I'm not expecting to play quite as well tomorrow. This was yesterday he was talking, but to be 2 under, and he's not put himself as yet under any real pressure.
Managed to save his par at the last with that 20-footer, but not the case at the 14th for Scott Hawke. Another shot goes there, another 5 on the card. Downwind the 14th, so 3 to 4 irons plenty for these players to find the narrowest point of the fairway. One thing you mustn't do here is hit it too far to the right, then you're blocked out for the second shot. So you'll see a lot of the players around there. First cut of rough, second cut, edge of the fairway. And from there it's just a short iron up the hill. Good view of it there, 13th over on the left side. And again, no fairway bunkers here. You'll find the players drive inside the line of that tree onto the fairway, let the fairway do the rest of the work. And then up the hill to a pin that you can only see the top of because of the change in height, the rise and fall of the land, and it's pretty much the same story up ahead at the green. There's 4 or 5 different pockets and some very interesting pin positions you can have there too.
Coulthard at 14, also looking to save his par. Not to be.
Head to Langham at the 15th. Nicely tidied up there.
Bunkers away to the right. So a question of who will be playing with Nick Price tomorrow. At the moment, Takemichi Tanaka looks to be favourite, second place, 2 clear of Waldorf, and will remain there. And maybe Harrington will make a move out on the course. Jose Caceres finishing with a round of 71, so must have birdied the last. See Darren Clark around 70 today, Lee Westwood 72. So Europe's number 1 and 2 currently. Locked at even palm. May even be playing together tomorrow. They'll be out in leader order once again. Gary Orr slipping a little after quite a steady first 3/4 of his round. Finished with a 74 eventually. Thomas Bjorn a 77 a day that started poorly and really never improved. I think we can probably, well, we can rule Thomas out of the race for number 1 spot now. Gary Orr finished double bogey. Bogey, a 7-5 finish, so it really was quite a respectable round until the last 2 holes. He's one of the 9 players to have gone into the water.
There's been a few casualties today. One of them has been Scott Verplank. Finished with an 8, the 18th, over 43 in a round of 80. 77 for Shigeki Maruyama. '76 for American Dudley Hart and Australian Stuart Appleby. Finished from Appleby 6-5, but there's no doubt these last few holes have taken a few prisoners.
And of course, without in any way wishing one of the nicest guys in golf here, if Nick Price has a problem or two, suddenly becomes very close to the top. And as you were saying right at the start, Colin Montgomery's 67 starts to look a really good round, or an even better round than it was, because it wasn't bad at all.
We said earlier in the day that there'd be a few players taking a fairway wood off the 15. Scott Hook, one of these. And the ball you see in the green there, the ball of Andrew Coulthard. So good recovery after the 5 at the last. And as we drift back to the final group and about to play his second to the 14th, Padraig Harrington.
We can see a bit more of the flagstick than Padraig can, but you can see plenty of it now. Getting a little cooler. The sweater's on now for Padraig. Just a moment or two ago, the leader.
Oh, come down. Down.
Dreaded flyer one feels. Oh. And that's not a shot that anyone would fancy from there.
Got the spine to go over. He's not got much green to work with, and the angle is very bad. He'd be 5 or 6 feet below the hole would be his best option.
See, the marshals are dressed in a different colour today. They've got the red coats on because of the cold.
Blue yesterday, wasn't it? Probably explains why there's none left plus.
Third of Garcia, final green.
Beautiful weight.
Now, what about this one?
Well, I think the only option he's got is to hit it sort of to the right of the pin and have an uphill putt for par. Do you see any other way?
There's a fringe of the green there, some 7 yards in front of the ball. If you can land it on that, it will hop to the left, and then it will take the left to right slope. But dangerous, because if you don't get the forward bounce, then you have the same problem all over again with your fourth. A shot that 10 years ago here would not have been possible, because the whole of the edge of the greens were Bermuda. The ball used to sit down there and it would never run through it. But with the introduction of the zoysia and the ryegrass, there is an opportunity, and I do believe that's the shot that Price is going to play.
Hasn't dropped a shot so far today, Nick Price. Still leader by 4. Padraig Harrington, though, has got a very makeable birdie putt at 14. Right, we're on the 17th level par today. And this will help Nick Price. His ball on the line of Padraig's putt.
Play's really got quite slow over the last 6 or 7 holes. Mentioned the American Chris Perry, how long he takes over the ball. Maybe that's been a deciding factor in that. Seems that everyone's in the right place.
Yeah, we've what, 55 minutes to run scheduled. 4 and a bit holes to go. Could be quite tight.
Certainly won't make 5 o'clock. They have. They've dried up.
Well, to this point yesterday, it had something like 17 putts. It was holding everything.
Good news for Nick Price is it's a very similar line to the one that Harrington had, so he will have seen the ball run out over the last 4 feet. Inside left and firm.
And that a 10 single putt green out of 14.
It's one of these days, though. It's not a day that you're going to find your second shots finishing 8 and 10 feet away because of the buffeting and the breeze. If it's a constant wind, you can almost control that, but here it will never be that. So it's a day when you have to try and get the ball as close as you can and get to work in your short game. Keep the bogeys off, you can't. And Price has done that beautifully.
Not short of Marshall's.
Quite a climb from the 14th up to the 15th tee, but it's worth it when you see the view from there. 16th tee, top left of your screen. Wanders back in the opposite direction, same direction the 17th, and the 18th would be running from left to right as you look at the screen now.
Just to confirm, Scott Hope making his 3 at this hole, and a 3 also for Andrew Coulthard. Both of them 3 under overall.
.195, says Ricky Roberts. You can add quite a bit to that. 31 and all.
Yeah.
It's more hurt. It's hurting a little more than it was yesterday.
Right in the middle of that back bunk.
I think we've got to ride a flag the way the wind's blowing.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you what, it's, what is that, 126?
15.
226.
So that's 106,
It's,
211.
210 over that corner there.
What's it to carry all of it? 53?
Yeah.
Yep, that's fine.
Sums completed, but Price will not want to leave any of this behind. He's on the limit here.
Wind's going to help that big time. Now, he dropped a shot here yesterday. He was in that same bunker.
Yeah, yeah.
Harrington has a little fairway wood he carries in there that he quite enjoys using off the tee, but maybe long enough to use a long iron. It's not a good tee, this, to hit a lofted fairway wood because it's quite elevated. You get a fair buffeting when you're standing on it.
I've already told you that the course is playing tougher today. This is a problem they had yesterday as well on the second, where Everything slopes away from left to right. Difficult to hold the fairway. The 6th hole, such a fiercely sloping green.
That was the ball of Nick Price, which found its way off the edge of the green. He did manage to get down into an enormous drive, 368 yards for Tiger Woods at the 17th. It left him only an 8-iron, and he needed half a club more. Not often he gets that annoyed now.
Back into real time. We're second. 17. In the water. Perry was level par today. That was for birdie. So he's moved to 1 under, 5 under overall. And getting back the shot, he dropped at 13.
Yes, the putt he had at the 14th was for a birdie and not a par, so good news for the American. And he's not that far away.
Well, Nick Price in the bunker at 15 for the 2nd day running. The 4-shot cushion. And Tanaka 2 clear of Ward-off, Harrington, Kalkabeckia, and now Perry again.
Tiger Woods making his way onto the first page of the leaderboard, and yet you get the feeling, having sat here for what, best part of nearly 10 hours, that he hasn't moved anywhere near top gear yet. I feel he has an awful lot in reserve, and Montgomery's position has got better as the afternoon's gone on.
He's still there well inside the top 20. But of course he's only 3 shots behind 3rd place, but he has to win if he's to retain the Harry Vardon Trophy, which is the trophy awarded for Europe's leading money winner each year. Darren Clark in pole position at the moment, and side by side with Lee Westwood, who's 2nd. Dennis Paulson around a 71, and any score under par today is to be commended.
Dennis from Vista in California, not too far away from Torrey Pines, where the Buick is held, and lost to Colin Montgomery in the first round of the Anderson Consulting World Match Play, which was the first World Golf Championship of the year. Well, not pleased, Nick. It wasn't that difficult a bunker shot. It was fairly straightforward.
In fairness to Langham and Perry, it doesn't look as if they're holding Scott Hoke and Andrew Coulthard up that much, or they've lost too much ground to the pair in front of them.
No, we saw Mike Weir's second shot a few moments ago, so they're in place. Former Buckeye Chris Perry, Jack Nicklaus and John Cook, of course, and members of the Ohio State University, famous Buckeye stateside.
It's so easy for you to say.
Good tee shot from Harrington. It's quite a big target, the 15th, but not when it's into the wind. Massive swing on this.
Mike Weir playing 4, second into the water, you remember.
Steady on, steady on. Surely not. It is. It's gone.
So now has he got to go across the other side, because part of it's lateral, part of it's water hazard. I'm not sure. See what colour the stakes are. If they're red, maybe able to drop green side.
Whatever. It's not good news for him. And second shot was rather like Woods yesterday, just a few inches out. And the leader in trouble at the 15th.
Looks like he's got a scuff mark behind the ball as well, which he's not allowed to repair. He's just off. Might be an old pitch mark. Just off the putting surface. So if he knocks that in, it will be another single putt. Technically, will be no consolation at all. He's just he's sort of brisk play, just stopping and almost counting to 10, just to get his composure back.
First drop shot of the day for Price. He dropped 2 shots yesterday, amazingly, in that round of 63. He's done well to knock that in. Couldn't have been easy standing over it, but it does give some encouragement to the rest of the field.
Lead cut to 3, and 3 testing holes to come.
Yellow stake it is, so it's back across the other side. This is all turning into a bit of a nightmare. 6th shot now. Only just.
That happened while we were watching Nick Price on 15. So we're now with a putt for a 7. Bogeys here so far today, and so far this week, and 6 double bogeys, or no, just 6 double bogeys. No one's managed an 8 yet, but they have now. And he could have made a 5 in his sleep if he hadn't been lured into going for it in 2.
Again, not the driver for Harrington.
No.
The 16th downwind today, driver would run through the fairway, and once again you have some thick rough in there. You have 1 or 2 trees down the lane, and 2 good tee shots here really should finish in the semi-rough on the left-hand side.
Bang. Shot.
There's one good shot.
Be the same club for Nicky Price. Hardly wastes any time once the club goes down there. There's the stance taken. 2 waggles and go.
Beauty.
It's probably got the further up the right you hit it, and the more pace it gathers coming down the slope.
That all looks a bit untidy there, but it isn't really. It doesn't affect the lie. It's just the Bermuda dying off as the cold winds come in. It needs to be 75 degrees for that to thrive on, whereas the ryegrass can grow from 55 degrees to 68.
Of course, if you don't want to go in the water, the other problem is it's such a narrow target area that you can overdo it. It's a very tricky one back with the water coming back into play behind the pin. Four bogeys since the turn for Scott Hoke, and he dropped a shot at the 9th, so 5 going in 8 holes. Par, by the way, for Andrew Coulthard. He remains at 3 under, 1 to the good over his playing partner now.
You mentioned earlier in the day it'd be a good day for Jose Caceres, and it certainly turned out that way.
See, if Coulthard could make a birdie at 17, wouldn't be such a bad day. Score of 73 from the back end of the draw. Leaders going out last. It's got a little harder and colder, and as you say, taken longer as the days progressed.
I think what you find in a day like this is that players who are 30 and 35 feet away, it's quite tough to get the ball stone dead, so there's a bit of marking goes on. Look there at Lee Westwood and his father on his left, manager Andrew Chandler on his right hand side.
Spoke to Lee a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about the new format for the Alfred Dunhill, where it's going to be a pro celebrity format over Carnoustie, Kingsbarn and the old course of St Andrews. And he said the celebrity he'd like to play with would be his dad. He said because we'd win, we're a good combination.
They certainly were at the Dimension Data up at Sun City, where some of the world's best players will be in some 3 weeks' time. Narrow stance for Hoke. It's reachable from there if you're prepared to take the gamble.
It's the ball of Andrew Coulthard a little further back, and he may take the more cautious approach from probably 30 yards behind Hoke.
Please stand.
There's the prize money we talked about a little earlier, $1 million for the winner come Sunday afternoon. $500,000 for second. Tiger Woods would need that first prize to go through the 10 million prize money mark on the PGA Tour, and also to take his 10th title of the year. That's also been a target, a goal.
Nine iron and a wedge from here today, given the wind conditions.
Didn't look like a yardage book that Warwick was looking at.
Looked more like a chart.
Well, a bus timetable or something. I mean, maybe some key notes that they've made.
They're hoping that if one birdie comes along, 3 will come along.
Thank you. Yeah, that's fine now.
Strong Irish brogue.
first of the buses could arrive at 16.
See if the second arrives at 17 for Perry. Third shot. Can't land this on the green. I will have to run it up the bank. Always a chancy shot.
Well, yesterday he came back from the drop shot at 15 with a birdie here at 16. And then closed out with a par at 17 and the 3 at 18. Asking little to make a repeat of that, but if he could finish at 11 under, or even if he finished at 10 under parred in from here, it's still been a pretty good day for Nick Price.
Yes, after a 63, I think anything under par would have been an exceptional round of golf. And there's no doubt the conditions have got harder as the day has gone on. We saw quite a lot of birdies early on, and most of them have dried up. Par now is quite a good score. Get a better view of the new section of the green from this end. Looking down the sun, the western skies behind the camera.
Took his time. It was almost worth it.
It's impossible to work out now how many over par the players are for the last 5 holes. And that's something we'll try and do this evening and get back to you in the third round, because there have been some amazing finishes. Rocco Mediate was another who really struggled over these closing few holes, playing alongside Gary Orr today. 4-5, 7-5, Orr finished 7-5 himself. We've already seen Weir take an 8 at 17. So a lot of problem holes out there, and holes that have to be treated with respect.
So any birdies to be prized, and this is a chance for Nick Price. Price with a chance to go to 11 under again. Watery sun breaking through. And halfway up the line of the putt, that looked a long way offline, and yet it was a combination of pace and line, and he wasn't far out in the end. There's a man who took 8 at the 17th. Well, at least he salvaged something at 18. That was a birdie. It would be a round of 74 for Mike Weir, despite the 8. In fact, that was to save par, I'm hearing. He's 1 under, so around a 75 for the Canadian left-hander. At long last, persistence brings its reward. Harrington is back to 6 under.
How important that could be too with the par 5 ahead. For the third consecutive day they could be alongside each other. But he'll need to finish with a couple of birdies or an eagle and a par. Third of Coulthard at 17th. As you said, Steve, laid up with his second. It's a good looking shot too.
Oh, steady on. Just.
The only thing that said that is the cut of the green. Very severe slope.
You might have had a word or two about the new part of the green, had that slid off.
You can understand what he was thinking. He's been struggling all through the back 9. Must try and squeeze a birdie out of it. That birdie could well become a 7.
Even if you do lay up and don't, it's not a giveaway 5, is it? So. Harrington with the honour on 17.
Can you be careful with the cameras there, please?
This is a long, long tee shot, this one. He went for the green yesterday and he's going to have no option today. He must go from there. That's almost in the woods class.
Here it comes.
Pushing it away to the right a little. Not as far as he did yesterday. And now taking the camber of the fairway. No slouch off the tee. Decision time. He could get there if he wanted to.
It's on the limit from there for Price. And of course, remember, his ball flight's a bit lower than the rest, and he may not choose to go for it. Coulthard's going for a 4. There's the grand entrance to Valderrama, the flag's there. Lovely little orange trees they have on that lawn, and they're beautifully kept all the way through the season. The old first hole you can see in the top of the clubhouse, that's now the 10th with the water on the right. A range that's been changed dramatically over the years. There was tons and tons of soil brought in to level that out. Very pleasant place to hit a few shots.
Six for Scott Hope. And that's 5 drop shots on the back 9.
Fine tee shot from Franklin Langham over at the 18th. You're talking about this hole, whether it's a great finishing hole. I was rather surprised they didn't push the 17th green a little over to the right, which would have enabled them to extend the tee, and then you would have hit to the widest part of the fairway. I think ideally you want to be hitting a driver off the final tee of a championship course, and the room simply doesn't allow them to do that. How many second shots have we seen right of this pin today? Maybe not that far right, but the problem is that if you miss it on the left, you're below the level of the green, you're coming up the hill and downwind, so it's in the back of the player's mind.
Been a reasonably tidy performance as well from Langham. Pars all the way from the turn. Just the one birdie at 4, drop shots at 5 and 9.
The price, by my way of reckoning, is around 220 yards to the front of the green. Maybe a tad more than that, maybe 225. But Padraig Harrington, with that good first bounce, has stolen a good 50 yards on him. And I shouldn't think he's got much more than 175 left to the front. Then got to add the pin into that. It is downwind.
131, we want to hit it. 131. Yeah. What did I say? 221 and
226.
Yeah, so you want to, 130.
Yeah, just discussing the layup, like yardage, to what they want to leave themselves.
221 he has to the front. And then you add the pin into that. 17 today, it's 5 on from the front.
96. Yeah, wedge will do it. 130 yards.
A little bit surprised he's not going at it. That's not the side to lay up on either, because you're then playing across the water and almost at the water that is just left of the pin. If you are going to lay up, you really want to be down the left side, although that does bring the stream into play. Harrington has no option, he has to go for it.
Straight down, but if anything, it's coming. There, either. What do you think?
7 iron.
Normal 7 iron.
Yeah. Normal 7 iron. Have some room there.
Normal 7 iron.
Got a wee bit more room there.
To a hole that's anything but normal. And then on a hole that is 536 yards.
It is an amazing hazard, water. You take the water away from this and it's not a problem at all. 7 iron, away you go.
No hold. Little unlucky. It was a bold shot. He's got a tricky third, but at least he's playing it off grass.
Yes, he simply pulled it, because had that ball been right of the pin, it would have been perfect. It would have been some 15 feet beyond the pin. That's where he would have been aiming. Last thing you want to do is make a mistake on the front side of the screen. We've seen what happens then. And Price will probably have to do the same with his third shot. Let's try and land it 5 or 6 yards right of the pin. Touch of hook spin. And let that spin and the slope do the rest.
18th hole, 454 yards now, so it's a good two-shotter.
Sandwich for Price.
They hit it with fairly soft hand as well. Beauty. And getting a little better. Well, you have to say good course management.
Yes, if you didn't feel comfortable, there was no point in coming out of your shoes trying to hit it as far as possible, because if you do that, it's going to come down fast, it's going to finish at the back of the green. We saw what happened to Chris Perry. He then had to play a run up the bank. You're never going to hit that hard enough. There's anything past the pin, and seemingly you wander into the edge of the water. Some lovely bougainvillea all the way along the right-hand side of this hole, and that's in full bloom. It's a splendid sight.
It's a hole that has a history for sure. And once, do you remember Sandy Lyle shanking his third shot up there, hitting a tree back into play, and he went on to beat Colin Montgomery in a playoff.
That's exactly what happened too. He shanked his third shot. Colin Montgomery at the first playoff hole, the 10th, hit it straight out of the heel and hit the tree in front of the tees. There's a few elements of player blunder there. Long putt from off the green from Perry. He's touched it quite well. Again, the change of grass has made this shot a lot easier on this golf course. And the good thing here is he's on the bottom of the upslope, so the elevation is already built into the shot, and what wind there is will be in his face.
You hear the water in the background bubbling away, and there's some mad professor concocting more hazards.
3 jets of water, which keeps the water circulating, keeps it clean. According to the words of Price, then a double breaker, a bit left over the first 4 feet and then left to right over the last 5. Certainly doesn't have to worry about the speed of this. It's extremely quick.
Perry for his par. be a round of level par 72 in the end. And it took him just under the 4 hours to get round.
Chance for Harrington to get under par for the first time in this round since the 7th. There was a time when all his right to left putts were batted with the normal orthodox grip, and left to right he used the left hand below right, but now it's virtually all the time cack-handed, as they say.
It seems more tension in that grip than that of Nick Price.
Right edge of the hole and firm.
The touring pro from Mount Juliet, which will host this American Express Championship the year after next over in Ireland.
Big changes there too in the director of golf, Kim Thomas, who was up at the Forest of Arden.
And Kim's over here this week just with a watching brief, just looking and learning.
Very fine public relations manager they have over there, Jill O'Hare, lovely Irish girl, full of enthusiasm, and no wonder it's a fabulous estate.
Took a while to get there, but a 5 for the leader, who stays 3 clear. Job almost done.
Odrig won't relish the thought of this one. This is the opposite swing of the previous one he had.
So won't be playing with Nick Price tomorrow, because even if he were to birdie the last, Tanaka's card in first on the sheet, so it looks like the Japanese player will be playing with Nick Price. That'd be terrific for all the Japanese television viewers to see one of their own right up there in this major tournament. It's $5 million, one of the World Golf Championships. I think the organisers would be delighted that there's a good-looking mix of various nationalities on that leaderboard. Plenty of Americans, of course, but an Argentinian, the Irishman, the man from Japan, and the Zimbabwean leading the way.
Andy Coulthard has reached the 18th, and he's found the green in 2. Steady on, Andrew. You can do without these at the end of the day. You mentioned the Japanese viewers, very hard-working crew they have over here too, the Japanese television. And my own channel, Sky Sports, follow them around the United States when we cover the Tournament Players Championship, and I saw Aoki, one of their top commentators, and still playing some good golf over on the Seniors Tour.
And recently in the Alfred Dunhill Cup at St Andrews, played in the very first and the last. But it's been a very disappointing back 9 for Scott Hoke, I'm afraid. back in 42 by my calculations, having gone out in 35 of 77.
Much tougher proposition, the tee shot at the 18th today, because you haven't got the wind to swing the ball back from right to left. It's a crosswind.
Well, he dropped the shot here yesterday, and he did so by really going through the fairway, leaving himself no realistic shot for his second. Nick Price right across to the right-hand side of the tee.
Second day running, Price has seen this as a driver, and that started a long way left. Other side of these trees is the 10th fairway.
And there is a ditch in between, which, as I recall, he wasn't too far away from yesterday. He was a bit bold on the first one.
That's extremely disappointing. 3 drop shots in the first 6, and he battled back well there, picking up the birdie at the 10th, and a drop shot at 14, which is not the easiest hole today. But to give a shot away at the 18th, when really 74 would have been quite a good score.
Hope, by the way, it was a 4. He was putting for birdie at 18, but it was still around a 76, home in 41. 37 back for Andrew Coulthard, 75.
The various flags of the nations, the Iberian flag in the middle, Valderrama second in from the right side. Of course, the stars against the blue background. Now United Europe. World Golf Championships to the left of that. Volvo, who take care of all the courtesy cars. Most of the players staying over at San Roque, which is not far away. 1 or 2 of them have houses. Plenty of them to choose from around here.
You can tell it's a cold afternoon, not too much activity on the range. VJ must be there somewhere.
Been some good golf played though, despite the conditions, and we knew it was going to be a tough day when we came on air. The drive at 17 I thoroughly enjoyed. The second, Tiger probably hated.
Yeah, only an 8-iron, 160 odd yards, and it didn't need much more. For the 3rd competitive time in a row, once the end of last year and the 2 rounds this year, into that water at 17.
It was a wonderful day for Colin Montgomery. That was his 67th shot of the second round, and there was a few spectacular ones in between.
Hold his second for a 2 at 2, and hold his tee shot, a 4-iron, for a hole in 1 at 12.
Tee shot of Duffy Waldorf. That's down the hill at the par 3-6, and they don't come an awful lot better than that. And Waldorf's not that far away. It's been quite a good day for him.
Mark Calcavecchia somehow trying to find a way to get the ball into the hole. That one stayed up, but 1 or 2 went in. A 67 for Calcavecchia, 5 under.
Calcavecchia alongside Duffy Waldorf, but the story of the day probably has come from the man from the land of the rising sun, Hidemichi Tanaka, making it all look very simple at the 17th. Nice comfortable 4 for him there.
Warwick Harrington has had to be patient. He got his reward at 16 on a difficult afternoon.
We talked about the putting of Price on day 1, and things started out the same way on day 2. Chip and putt at the first, and that birdie there at the second.
Third shot at the 7th of par 5. Setting up yet another single putt. Indeed, for the first 9 holes, only 10 putts for the Zimbabwean. And it's been a question really of holding on to what you have on the tougher back 9, just the 1 drop shot, that at 15 for the second day running. So a 3-shot lead, but we don't know where his drive's finished on the 18th. All we know, it's gone to the left, the trees there's a cart path, there's a drainage ditch.
You have to be very fortunate to get a clear second. It will be further down than Harrington's, who had a 3-wood off the tee, middle of the fairway. Just a good firm mid-iron from there. Looks like he's trying to hold that up in the left to right wind. And he's made a fantastic job of it. Superb approach.
We talked about 3 buses coming along in a row, 3 birdies, and I mean, he got the one at 16. He'd be disappointed he didn't get it at 17, and he's got a chance at 18 again. He's got lucky.
May be able to get to the front edge of this club. I doubt it, though. We'll see.
But he was so close to being stymied by the tree.
Cameron believing it's over to the right side there, and if that's the case, it's not that bad a play. But if it's gone into the bunker, it leaves that awkward length of 40 to 45 yards. And it looks like he's just managed to stay on dry land. Now chipping back into the wind, maybe quite hopeful of picking up a par 4 at the 18th without seeing the fairway.
Going to be some day for Tanaka tomorrow, in the full glare of worldwide publicity and TV, out in the last group with Nick Price with $1 million first prize fund. I hope he can enjoy it.
I'm sure he will. He's got enough wins over on the Japanese tour to feel quite confident of going out there. And at the end of the day, it's another event. It's another tournament played over 72 holes, and it's no different. At the end of the day, the rewards are a little higher, but I think he should have enough professional experience to deal with that.
Moving into the equation will be 1T Woods, first to post the score at 4 under, so he's going to be out possibly in the 3rd from last group, which will please the networks. And we should be finishing now, but obviously we're going to just stay with us a few more minutes to see the conclusion of round 2 of this American Express Championship.
See an enormous change here if Harrington can go ahead and haul out and Price doesn't make his par putt.
Strange, isn't it? For all the first 9, you felt the Price was getting away. Harrington was struggling, and yet if he turns it round a little on these closing holes, he's actually a shot closer, or could be a shot closer, than he was at the start of the day. As if he holes and Nick doesn't. Maybe Price to play first still.
.75 for Colin Montgomery yesterday. 12 shots behind he was, this man. He somehow found his way around here in 63. Should he miss this, Montgomery would move to 7 shots behind, and with Westwood and Clark, Bjorn and Campbell not setting the world on fire, that may be another little subplot we have at the weekend. That's Price for a 4 at the last.
It's only the second bogey of the day. In the end, it's a level par 72. Threatened to be a little better. At one stage, he was in a commanding lead. He's still ahead, but just by 2. And a similar line for Padraig Harrington.
Seen this putt missed an awful lot on the right over the years. You get the feeling it should turn quite a lot from right to left.
Padraig Harrington needs that putt to be out in the penultimate group tomorrow with Mark Calcavecchia. If he were to miss it, by my calculations, he'd probably be out with Tiger Woods.
There's a lot of pressure on it then, because with all the baggage that goes with playing with Tiger, probably a wonderful experience. He's a very calm-natured man. You see him, like all of us who play this game, just lose the head for a few seconds every now and again. Nothing strange about that. But he's very considerate, Woods. He's aware of what it's like for players playing alongside him. And usually when you're playing with him, you're in contention.
Well done indeed. Harrington rounded level par 72. It was good to get that one out of the way.
It's the last thing you want to do, isn't it? A long afternoon where you've been struggling out there to try and secure pars, and you're faced with one on the 18th. But he was up to it.
So tomorrow's third round will see Price out with Tanaka, Harrington with Calcavecchia, who posted his 67 before Duffy Waldorf, who has a date with Tiger Woods. Moving down, Colin Montgomerie eventually finishing in a tie for 11th place at the halfway stage, and still in with a chance of retaining his European Volvo Order of Merit title. Darren Clarke, the current leader, good round also today, 70. He may have a chance to influence affairs. Lee Westwood in second place, also at level par after 72 today. On a difficult day. The wind blew in from the Mediterranean and the players struggled on the back nine. It wasn't easy coming home.
It's the Levante and the Poniente, and nobody knows what we'll get tomorrow, but there will be wind. There will be a tough course for these players to play, and at the end of it, I'm sure we'll have a great champion.
So looking through the scores of all 55 players. Price by 2 from Tanaka, perhaps the story of the day though early on. Colin Montgomerie keeping his hopes alive, and Tiger Woods on the fringes of contention. Should be some third day with Tiger out third last, Nick Price out last. Hope you've enjoyed today. From Ewen and from me, Steve Beddow. See you tomorrow.